Is it working? Hello, hello. Just checking. This is my second live that I've ever done. Ever. Hi, everybody. Hello. Hello, my name is Susie Jaramillo. My name is Susie Jaramillo, and I'm an author, and I'm an illustrator, and I'm actually also the Chief Creative Officer of Encantos. Hola. Hi, Deb. Thanks for being there. Hola, everybody. So I want to tell you a little bit about me today and a little bit about what Encantos does and all of the wonderful books that we have to offer. If you haven't heard of Encantos, Encantos is a wonderful education and entertainment company that really focuses on bringing wonderful stories to life for children that are traditionally underrepresented in publishing. My background, just so you know a little bit about me, I am half Venezuelan, 1/4 Ecuadorian, and the other quarter Irish. So a good old-fashioned American mix. And being Latina is super, super important to me. And I had the wonderful good fortune to join with another family. They are Dominican Salvadoreños. And they also thought it was really, really important that we share our culture with our children. And so we started Encantos. And Encantos, the mission is really to bring to life stories that have traditionally not been told for underrepresented children. So we are all about inclusivity. And our first batch of stories, you may have heard of them, they were inspired by nursery rhymes. So in Venezuela, when I was a little girl, everybody sang Los Pollitos, and they sang Un Elefante se balanceaba, and all these wonderful, wonderful nursery rhymes. And as I grew older, I realized that, it wasn't just Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Colombia, it didn't matter where you were from. People would share those stories. So, am I supposed to split my screen? I'm not completely sure, Mari. I know that you're telling me to split my screen, but I'm not so sure what you want. So ping me again and let me know if I should be asking anything in particular. But for now, I'm just going to keep talking, and then I'll start to show you a little bit about what I do. So I'm inspired by art and by culture. So you can see a little bit about me, like just Mafalda, Latino America, antiques, my family, all of this stuff is just, a part of who I am. I grew up on fairy tales. I love fairy tales. And I love this idea of just creating this world of many, many, many cultures for children. And so at Encantos, when we started our premise, our first brand was Canticos, right? And this idea of how do we bring nursery rhymes to life for little children? And how do we do it in a way to where we teach English and we teach Spanish to little babies, and we make it easy on the parents because, bilingual books are hard, right? And getting a kid to adopt a second language is really, really hard. And we want to make things intuitive for parents and intuitive for teachers and librarians and educators. So how do we do that? How do we introduce children to another language, another culture, one language at a time? And so the way I thought best to do it was to develop this series of accordion books. And the beautiful thing about accordion books is that you could really read them one side at a time, right? So we developed this, I'm going to switch the camera around so you can see them more. This, how do I do this? I don't really know how to switch the camera. Maybe I will just flip the camera because let's see. You know what? I don't know how to switch the camera, so I'll just do it this way. All right, so we developed these books, and if you look through them in one side in English, right, everything is interactive. And this was our very first one, Los Pollitos. And of course, interactive books are way more fun for kids. And the other side is Spanish, right? And so that was the original incarnation of all that was Canticos. And it came with this slipcase. And I know librarians don't love slipcases, but that's the way we did them originally. And based on that, we realized, hey, maybe, let's think about this. Is there another way? Is there another way we can do these books to where we keep this wonderful traditional reversible nature of the books, but do away with the slipcases, right? And so we came up with this completely new format, which I'm going to show to you, and you'll have to put your reversible glasses on that allows you to read backwards text because it will all be backwards, so apologies for that. But here is our new format, and check this out. De colores in Spanish, spine, all the colors in English, spine featuring the artwork from our Emmy-nominated animation. And if you see how it works, you open it this way, no slipcase. We've done away with the slipcase. And then you go through, and it's got all of the beautiful artwork from our animation. So it's kind of like the best of Canticos, right? All of that nice, beautiful, interactive stuff. All of the wonderful art for Canticos. But now you don't have to worry about a slipcase. So this is De Colores. It features our adorable pollitos. And we now have it available like this in this really fancy, gorgeous novelty style, which is kind of perfect for bilingual story time, and it has a sing-along video to go. And that's all the colors. And then there's also Ping Pong, which is really timely because he's all about hygiene and personal care. So this is Ping Pong. If you're Mexican, you know who Ping Pong is, right? So by the way, if you want to check these out, you can absolutely go to Canticos World, canticosworld.com. And that's where you can learn all about these books, right? And we've got a video on actually how to make accordion books on Canticos, on our learning hub on Canticos. Because, I mean, accordion books are just super, super fun. I love accordion books. So if you want to do an exercise where you're helping children learn accordion books, there's a little secret to it. And I lay that out on our learning hub. So this is Ping Pong, the cardboard cutout. And again, he washes his face, he combs his hair, and he's just a really fun character. And his book is finally coming out. You have no idea how many requests we've been getting from fans. Please make Ping Pong, because Ping Pong is such a huge icon for the market. So he's finally going to be available very, very soon. And since there's, different styles for different folks, we've got Ping Pong and De Colores in these little formats too, right? Oops, I just dropped a book. So if there's this little format, right? Whoa, can you see it? Sorry. And then there's this format as well. So anyways, we're just really excited about our new nursery rhyme series. And then honestly, we've got these really great bilingual first books because it's everybody knows the challenge of finding truly wonderful bilingual books. And so when we started doing the nursery rhymes, we thought, well, we need a really beautiful alphabet too, and first words and feelings and numbers, right? So how can we really bring all of these different concepts to life, leveraging all this great work for the animation? I don't know if you guys know this, but all of the animation for Canticos World, it all starts like this, right? It all starts little drawings. And then from there, this is actually the original storyboard for the Los Pollitos video. I drew it myself. Now I have others helping me. But the very first storyboard for the Los Pollitos video, I drew myself. And so that's how all of our videos get made. And when we're finished with them, we end up with all of these wonderful images. And we decided to take those images and to start making more wonderful books out of them. So I'm going to show you our alphabet book. So, right, A is for apple and A de árbol. And actually most alphabet books, they only show you the A is for apple and then they'll say manzana in Spanish. But they won't say A de árbol, apple tree or tree, right? So we thought it was really important to give you words that began with the letter both in English and in Spanish. And we took advantage and we were like, okay, you know what? We're also going to teach uppercase and lowercase, right? And so this is just for us a really wonderful way. I love this. El charro con el chile, right? El che. So this was a really great way to introduce children to the alphabet and phonics and letters in English and in Spanish, right? In a way that they can then pair it with the animation and just really get more engaged. Because I mean, our whole premise is that learning should be fun, right? Learning should always be fun. Kids have fun when they're learning, and this way it keeps them more naturally engaged. So this is our A to Z book, and then we also have the basic first words, right? So organized by theme. I'm going to go ahead and show it to you this way. Whoa. Again, so you can see all the great characters and just see, you know, in English and in Spanish. I love this because our bus in Wheels on the Bus is actually una chiva colombiana. So if you have been to Latin America or if you're Colombian, you will recognize that. And if not, you're just going to think, wow, what a colorful bus, right? And then you've got sports and our little band for music and birthday party with our piñata and our birthday bunny and just all sorts of like just really, really, really fun stuff that'll make it really easy for parents to engage with in English and in Spanish. So that's a little bit more on Canticos, but I want to talk to you about other brands because the cool thing about Encantos is that we have a whole bunch of stories to tell, and one of our really important mission is to bring people together through culture. And so when we looked around, we saw that there were a lot of books on like, you know, Goodnight San Francisco or Goodnight New York or London or Paris. And we wondered to ourselves, where is the board book that introduces children to China? Where is the board book that introduces children to Mexico, to Puerto Rico, right? And so we gave this a lot of thought, and we came up with a series that we're calling Tiny Travelers. So Tiny Travelers really introduces children to the world. And our first few books in Tiny Travelers, let's see if I can, oh, that's how you do it, duh. Look at that. Puerto Rico, Mexico, India, and China is around here somewhere. One of my kids shows up, I'll have them get it. Anyways, so what a wonderful way to introduce children to the world, right? So let's go to Mexico, right? You get here, and the first thing you see is just this wonderful map. You guys have no idea how excited I am that I figured out how to flip the rotation of the phone. Anyways, so here we go, and it's a treasure quest, right? So the cool thing is that these books will introduce children to treasures, obviously not silver or gold, but like cultural treasures, like La Catrina or like El Ángel or tacos or all these other wonderful things that exist in Mexico. And so you go through, and it's a search and find book. So on every spread, the kids are going to find something, right? Here, it's the angel. You know, we go through, mariachis, super important, right? So what do we have here? We have a trumpet. That's our treasure. And then we go through here, deliciousness, food, introducing children to food from every different country. What's our treasure? El mocajete. And then there's also like fun facts, right? So in this case, you know, it's lucha libre, which is our sport for Mexico. And what's the fun fact? Well, the fact that the most famous luchador in Mexican history was El Santo. Throughout his whole career, he never took off his mask. So it's details like that that make it really rich for kids. Or like in Xochimilco, right? You have el ajolote, this little creature there. And did you know that this little endangered species, you know that he's the only animal that can grow back lost arms and lost legs, right? So super, super, super cool. These are this is everything we want kids to think about when they think Mexico, right? We don't want them to think crisis or what's going on or whatever. All the kind of like, all the buzz, all the noise that you hear on a regular basis with countries We want to change that. We want them to think of culture. Here's Puerto Rico, right? So take a look at Puerto Rico. Armchair travel, right? Armchair, because nobody can go anywhere right now. But why don't we go there with books? It's all about that. So that when we go in person, we know all about it. So here's Puerto Rico. Here are all these wonderful treasures of Puerto Rico. You've got, from Roberto Clemente to El Moro to the papaya, the masks. And then you go through, and we really want to celebrate what Puerto Rico's about. We're going to start in, El Viejo San Juan, and we're going to have a party there. Oh, and then from there we go to La Bomba, to bomba dancing, bomba music, right? And we'll find the Vigente mask, right? And of course, there's a food spread in every single book, which is really, really fun. And here's the thing, if you're from Puerto Rico, if you're from Mexico, you've actually never seen a board book that celebrates your culture. And that's part of why this series of Tiny Travelers books is just so, so, so special. I mean, did you know that in Puerto Rico, there's this bioluminescent bay, right? Where these living creatures just light up the waters at night. How cool is that, right? So these are the things that small children, and a really simple way to introduce small children to the world. Sports, boxing, El Arecibo, where you listen to aliens, and that's Puerto Rico. And one more that I'll show you today is India. Now this one just came out, guys, hot off the press, right? India. So again, look at all these treasures that are in India. And honestly, this book should be 20 times as long as it is to be able to capture, even remotely start to capture all of India. But we do our best with, the 14 spreads or whatever it is. So here's our chai tea lady. She's our treasure. Bollywood. You can't do India and not do Bollywood, right? Look at this. Ranthambore. So, I mean, and just doing these books was just a wonderful experiment in research and in just immersing ourselves in each culture. Here's Holi. And we always have guides for each book. So they are written by myself and my wonder twin, as we like to say, or partner in purpose, Stephen Wolf Pereira. And Stephen has traveled to over 70 countries, and he was an international relations major. And I am just an eternal student of culture, right? And they call me Dr. Susie because I like it. Rhyming just comes really, really, really naturally to me. So these books were written in rhyme, the main text, just because also that makes it fun to read to kids, right? It's like, if you're a fan of safari, adventures, and more, you'll love exploring in Ranthambore. Drive through the ruins, but riders beware. Tigers are on the prowl everywhere, right? So it's just sort of really a fun way to bring things to life. Holi is the festival that marks the start of spring and all the good that the season will bring. Powder is thrown in the air with great joy as colors cover every girl and boy. Anyways, and of course, the food of India is always amazing, so can't not celebrate food. But when we're celebrating food, why not go to the south of India and celebrate this wonderful hairstyle and this henna, which is such an intricate part of Indian culture. So again, all of these things were important things that we want to celebrate in India. So now, let me turn this around now that I figured out how to do it. I'm so excited I figured out how to turn the camera around. Logic fails you with Insta Live. And my children have locked me out of this room. Hang on a second. 8 and 11. They don't always do what I ask them to do. You can't lock me out. Oh, come on. And those are my children, folks. So, working from home. Okay. So last but not least, I wanted to tell you a little bit about Scaletitos, the world of Scaletitos. And this is actually a really super cool project because it's the project I'm working on now. In addition to all of the wonderful Canticos books. First of all, I always love this guy, Jose Posada. Do you guys know who Jose Posada is? Let me tell you a little bit about Jose Posada. Jose Posada is the one who basically, through his woodcuts, invented the idea of Day of the Dead. And he basically started back when, print was just invented, and he did these wonderful wood carvings that were really a staple of turn of the century Mexico, right? And he developed this character called La Catrina in his wood carvings. And with La Catrina, it was his way of making fun of kind of the elite Mexicans who liked to think that they were only from Spain and didn't appreciate Mexican culture. So he's the one that gave birth to La Catrina and this sort of style of drawing and this style of wood carving, right? And so around him, this whole culture of Day of the Dead etchings were born, right? And I've just always been fascinated by this because to me, this is just something that's not really authentically explored here in the United States, right? And speaking of accordion books, this is a really amazing one. But look at this. Isn't this just so cool? And this is truly this amount of detail, this kind of cross-hatching, this spirit. This is Day of the Dead culture in Mexico. And what I love about it is that Mexicans, they don't fear their dead, right? They don't fear death. Death is a transition from life, and it gives you strength when you are close to your ancestors. And this idea of being close to your ancestors and drawing strength from them and not fearing death and not fearing anything, I've always thought was super, 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 super cool. So based on that, I took this old poem, which was, it was called Chumbalaca. And I reinvented it in English and Spanish. And this is an English version. It's called Skeletitos, right? So the title of the book is called Skeletitos. By the way, the title of this book is called La Pulqueria, and it's a collector's item, and it's pretty fabulous for those that are asking. But anyways, this one is not for children. You should be warned. This one is Skeletitos, right? And so I dedicate it to my mother, who passed a while ago. She passed in 2016. And it has a little clock here, a teaching clock. And so with each, the idea is that kids will learn to tell time and that they would learn to value time. So with each hand, as you go through the clock, you celebrate a moment. So let's see. You move the clock around. Here's 1 o'clock. And you start when the clock strikes the hour of 1, out of the tumba, Skeletitos rumba. And then you keep going. And then as the clock stays open, you can keep going, right? So here's 2. Where's 2? Hang on. When the clock strikes the hour of 2, blah, 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 blah. When the clock starts the hour of 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. All that good stuff. And as I did this book, I was like, this is such a wonderful world. And I really fell in love with this character right here, Scalloped, right? And I really loved her because I just thought, wouldn't it be cool if this world existed in an in-between world? I suffered from really, really intense nightmares when I was little. And I discovered that really in your dreams, there's so many possibilities to do anything. And that if I could harness that power, I could really have a lot of freedom. And so I kind of learned to conquer what I trained myself to do. And I asked myself, I wonder how many other kids out there are suffering from nightmares and suffering from loss and don't know how to deal with death and don't know how to deal with fear. And wouldn't it be cool if I pulled this little girl out and gave her a whole world of her own, and we did a series called Scalloped Tina and the Inbetween World. So that's what I'm working on now, Scalloped Tina and the Inbetween World. So this is Scalloped Tina, and she lives in the spooky kooky in-between world. And it's a combination of Escher meets Jose Posada meets Tim Burton, right? And the in-between world this is the world where little kids, when they go to sleep, they go to this world. And then people, when they die, they also go to this world. And so this is the world where children often meet people that have passed and deal with their fears in their sleep, right? And so Scalloped Tina thrives in this world. Like, she's been in this world for a real long time. She lived during the 1920s, 1930s in Mexico. And, you know, she's made friends with a whole variety of really spooky, kooky creatures in the in-between world, like Spider Grandma, who taught her to make these fancy dream catchers that catch fears, right? And she has monsters try to scare her all the time because it's the in-between world, and that's what they do, right? These bored creatures that have nothing else to do than scare people. But she deals with them. I mean, this guy's coming through the floor to get her. She just steps on his finger. This one comes in to scare her. She just hands him a cup of tea. You know, because a lot of times people that try to scare you, they just want some attention. And then this creature, this is the thing. Like, a lot of us have the same dreams, right? So that whole dream of somebody trying to come into your house is a very, very, very common dream, right? And Scalloped Tina deals with that by just, she just plays the piano, invites him to come in and listen. And he's absolutely, completely harmless, Or Rattles. This is Rattles, right? Rattles is this creature who just shakes and shakes and shakes things. I don't know if you guys have ever had that dream of everything in your house is shaking and you're in an earthquake and the building is about to fall down. So that's but she knows that whenever this happens, all she has to do is take a deep breath and Rattles calms down, And I don't know if any of you have had that feeling of there's a flood, right? And you're in the water and you're trying to save your siblings or your children, and there's a flood and you're asleep, and it's such a frustrating dream, right? But what Scalloped Tina knows is that in the in-between world, you can breathe underwater, and that floods is actually quite harmless, right? So this is a little bit of the artwork from Scalloped Tina and the In-Between World. So last but not least, flip here. Here we go. So I know that everybody uses Procreate nowadays and everyone's drawing on the iPad, and honestly, I wish I was there. And sometimes I am there. I do that too, but when it came to Scalloped Tina, I tried to draw it. Oh, you know what? I'm supposed to answer questions now. Hang on a second. I tried to draw it on Procreate, and I just had no luck because it just pencil, the texture of the paper, everything, it wasn't the same. So I've been doing it in pencil, good old fashioned 8B. This is the tool of choice for me. I love my 8B pencil, and I have a collection of 8B pencils. And honestly, Bristol board and AP pencils get me really, really, really far. So I'm a cheap date when it comes to art supplies. And the last illustration that I'm currently working on is this one right here, which is how she meets Senor TikTok, right? He's kind of like our Father Time. And so in her stories, Scalloped Tina helps kids deal with their anxieties. And each person, whether it's, I don't know, fear because your teeth are falling out, or fear of someone persecuting you, or fear that everyone's looking at you, or fear that you can't move your legs, or the gazillion fears that you have in your sleep, Scalloped Tina will help you deal with them. So does anybody have any questions? Please, because I was told to answer questions and I blabbered on and completely forgot. So, does anyone have any questions? I should tell you guys that I got started a very informal way. I didn't take that traditional route to becoming this type of illustrator / entrepreneur, because I am the publisher as well with my partners. We own Encantos, so we publish our own books. It's very much a family-run company, and we're also a public benefit corporation. So everything we do is tied into a pro-social effort. So one of the things we did for Canticos was we partnered with Save the Children and raised just about $1 million to support the efforts at the border to help protect families. So a lot of what we do has that mission. It's super, super important to us. And so I can either, oh, please, librarians, oh my gosh, spread the word, please. And you know what I didn't tell you? Oh my God, how could I almost forget? So librarians, we have you covered because we also have a learning hub where we have lots of activities for little ones to engage with the books that you read them. So it's great that they read, but sometimes they want to do something that's not reading, and you want to be able to give them something complementary to what they're reading. So with every single book that we do a whole slew of material. So here, for example, are some of the coloring sheets you can find on the Canticos Learning Hub, right? So we've got our characters, we've got these kinds of wonderful things, we've got, all kinds of letter sheets and vocabulary building, days of the week. We've got lyric sheets for every single one of our songs. And we've got a hand washing sheet. There's just a whole array of sheets of this type on our website. So again, you can go to encantos.com. Did I say that? Encantos.brands.com. Forgive me. Encantosbrands.com. Encantosbrands.com. And you will find this type of learning material for tiny travelers and for canticos, okay? And Scaletitos coming soon. But in the meantime, a whole array of learning material for both canticos and for tiny travelers. And yeah, I mean, our mission really is to support the community. So librarians, like you guys, are the ones that really propel us forward. So we absolutely rely on all the support we can get. Also, you can go to encantosbrands.com/learning. One more time, encantosbrands.com/learning. But you can also find the Learning Hub on the main navigation. So if you go to Encantos Brands, you will find the website for tiny travelers and the website for canticos. That's probably the easiest way to do it. And I think my time might be up. In fact, I think I may be over. Mari, am I supposed to go till 3:30 or am I supposed to go longer? I think it might just be till then. Does anyone have any last minute comments? Anything? Please let me know. Otherwise, everybody, thank you for tuning in. It's really wonderful to be here, and keep subscribing to School Library Journal. Thank you, School Library Journal, so very, very, very much for letting me take over your Instagram and doing an Insta Live. And I don't know, I will see you in a bookstore when everything opens up again. Thank you.